Hi guys, welcome back. This is Friend. Last week we went over the term emergency fund, and this week's topic is going to be credit cards. We're going to be talking about the pros of credit cards, the cons of credit cards, and credit cards are in a sense tied to last week's topic, which was emergency fund. And I say that because typically if you don't have an emergency fund set up and you have any kind of expenses that occurred unexpectedly, most likely you will be using a credit card to cover that because you don't have the cash. Now, that's why I say it's linked to the last week's topic in a sense. If you need more information regarding an emergency fund and why you should have one and what's recommended in terms of money amount, I would strongly recommend that you go to my last video regarding emergency fund. Now, back to credit cards. Why are credit cards good and why are they bad? If you really think about it, credit cards are really like a double-edged sword. Why? Because there are cons and there are pros to credit cards. Now, some of the benefits of having a credit card are, one, they're convenient to use, right? So you don't have to carry cash with you and you don't have to risk carrying your debit card with you. They're convenient to use so that you can easily make your purchases without any issues. It doesn't matter what you're buying, pretty much anything you can buy with a credit card. That's number one. Number two, they offer fraud protection. Now, what is fraud protection? Fraud protection is some kind of way that the credit cards are able to protect you as the consumer. For example, if your credit cards were stolen and someone went ahead and used your credit cards and had a whole lot of charges on that credit card, you are not liable for those charges, provided that you maybe have to file a police report and give a sworn statement to the credit card company that it wasn't you who made those purchases. The third benefit of having a credit card is that they're safe to carry. If you were to lose your wallet, you would much prefer have credit cards in your wallet as opposed to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank, your checking account, or even worse, having cash. Because once you lose your debit card, if they decide to use that credit card for their own benefit, the money that was on that checking account is immediately not available to you. Let's say you had $500 in your checking account. Someone steals your debit card and they use those $500. Immediately, those $500 are no longer available to you. Some banks may be able to give you that money back, but the process may be extremely lengthy. And worse, if you were carrying cash in your wallet, once you lose your wallet, you lose that cash. And that's why credit cards are safer to use. The next pro for using credit cards is that a lot of credit cards offer you rewards. Now, the rewards may be in the form of cash back or it may be in the form of statement credit. For example, I personally use my credit card monthly and I've done that for years. And because I have many transactions on my credit card every month, groceries, gas, subscription, I end up accumulating rewards, right? So later on, I'm able to use the rewards however I please. Sometimes in the past, I've gotten the cash back and I've used that and invested the money. Sometimes I just use the rewards to apply a statement credit to my last credit card statement so that I have less money to pay. And one of the last pros that I'll be going over is that credit cards allow you to build your credit. Pretty much everyone knows that. Get a credit card, they say, you'll be able to build your credit. Now, that may be true, but you have to understand that you must learn how to use credit cards responsibly. If you use your credit card, but you don't use it in a responsible manner, you will suffer some of the consequences. And these are very negative consequences of using credit cards irresponsibly. Now, we're going to be going over some of the cons of having a credit card. Now, one of the benefits of having a credit card is how convenient it is. But that can also be an issue because they are easy to use. For example, if you go shopping and you have a credit card, let's say with a $3,000 limit, right? So you're free to use that credit card to purchase multiple items and you don't see the consequences of that until the statement is made and then you're asked to pay your balance back. So the fact that it's so easy to use could be a negative. The next thing is they have high interest rates. Now, while a mortgage may have an interest rate of say 5%, 6%, and a car may have an interest rate of 6, 7%. Now, if you try to get a credit card, depending on your credit history, you may have to pay 15, 16, or even 20+% as an APR. And APR is the annual percentage rate. That's the percentage that the credit card company uses to apply to your balance to determine how much money you're going to have to pay them back in interest. Because credit card interest rates can be so high, if you have a high balance, you may be stuck paying a lot of money back, sometimes a lot more than what you borrowed. I'll give you an example and I'll use my own personal credit card. For example, my last statement was made as of early January, right? And I have to pay the balance by February. And I believe the date is February 3rd. My last statement balance was $3,726. Now, if I do not pay the credit card the entire sum of $3,726 by the February 3rd deadline, then I will have to pay them interest. My actual APR on my credit card is 16.74%. So let me give you an example. If I were to make just the minimum payment on my credit card, which is $37, it would take me 14 years to pay back the balance. And that is considering that I do not add another penny in terms of purchases to that credit card. That's a lot of money. And I will end up paying $7,886 over those 14 years. That's how detrimental credit cards can be to your finances if you use them irresponsibly. Now, I've used credit cards my entire adult life. And so for well over 15 years, I've never paid a penny in terms of interest to my credit card companies. However, I've used hundreds, if not well over $1,000 in rewards that I've used to either invest or that I use as a statement credit. Now, using another example, this is what my current credit card statement says. So if I were to increase my minimum payment from $37 to $132, it would only take me 3 years and it would save me $3,100 in interest payment. That's a lot of difference. So if you plan on using your credit card, I would strongly suggest that you only purchase using your credit cards money that you can fully repay when the statement is made. So if you use $300 in terms of purchases and you add that to that credit card, when the statement balance is made, you need to be able to pay back, to reimburse the credit card company the full $300. That way you will be able to use the credit card as a convenience and you will be able to possibly get rewards that you can take as cashback or statement credits for future credit card statements. But if you plan on using your credit card and you have no intention of paying the entire balance off when the statement is made, then you're basically asking for trouble. And some of you have in the past and are currently in that exact situation. You have so much credit card debt that it's become unbearable. You feel like it's suffocating you because the minimum payment is just not enough. And for some of you, it will unfortunately take years before you can pay off that balance unless you take drastic measures to be able to pay it ahead of time. There are only two ways you can do that. You can either increase your minimum payment and not pay the minimum payment that is suggested by the credit card company and pay a higher amount, or you're gonna have to earn more money by doing other jobs so that you can increase your income and use that extra income to pay off your credit card. Now, I understand perfectly well that things have been tough lately. You have credit card debt for a reason, and a lot of you, it's not because of frivolous spending. You just had to put purchases on your credit cards because you simply did not have the money. Inflation has been out of control. The prices on goods and services have been increasing non-stop. And as a result, you have no choice but to add purchases to your credit card. If you currently have credit card debt, what I would suggest is that you attack this credit card debt as fast as you possibly can. Why? Because having enormous credit card debt will stifle every bit of money that you have, and that will prevent you from making progress financially. That will prevent you from investing for your future, whether that be retirement, whether that be investing to buy a house in a few years. And all of that will be put on the back burner because of this credit card debt. So do whatever you possibly can to pay the credit card debt off, and start with the credit card with the highest APR. The one with the highest interest rate is the one that you should be attacking first, because that's the one that's costing you the most in terms of interest payments. Now, other disadvantages or cons of credit cards is that there are fees associated with credit cards. It can be different types of fees. It can be an annual fee, which is a fee that the credit card company charges you or applies to your account, irrespective of if you use the account or not. And let's say you have a credit limit of $3,000. Even if you did not have a single purchase on that credit card if the annual fee as dictated by the terms of the credit card company are $100 a year. Every year, the credit card company will charge you $100 simply for having that credit card. First, I would suggest that you not have a credit card with an annual fee. Other types of fees would be late payment fees. If you are making payments, but you're not making your payments to your credit card company on time, even if it's the minimum payment, you will be charged late payment fees. And these range from like $30 to $40 or even more. And the more you keep making late payments, the higher the fees will be, the greater the principal balance will be on your credit card, and the more difficult it will be for you to pay off that credit card debt. Another con of having a credit card is that there's credit card fraud. Now, if you use your credit card responsibly and you look over your purchases, if there are any fraudulent transactions that are posted on that card, it is your responsibility to make sure that you report that as swiftly as possible, or else you may be held liable for these charges. And as I stated earlier, one of the benefits of having a credit card is if you report these fraudulent transactions timely, then you will not be held liable for these transactions by your credit card company. Now, to recap, some of the benefits of having a credit card are they're convenient to use, they're safe to carry, they have rewards that they offer in terms of cash or statement credit, they provide fraud protection, and they allow you to build your credit. Now, some of the cons of having a credit card is that they're easy to use, so it's easy for you to overspend. They generally have a higher interest rate than the interest rate that you typically have on your mortgage or on your car. They can have annual fees and other types of fees, late payment fees, etc. So it's very important that you watch out for those. Do not get a credit card that has an annual fee if you can, and try to make your payments on time. Today's video was a pretty short video, but I just wanted to talk about or discuss with you credit cards, how they can be beneficial to you and how they can be disadvantageous to you as well, depending on how you use them. If you use them responsibly, credit cards are a great thing. But if you use them irresponsibly, then you will be carrying balances from month to month and not be able to pay off those credit card debt for years. And because so much of your money will be going towards credit card companies, it will prevent you from doing other stuff that you'd like to do with your money, like save for the future, save for your kids, save for a house, save for a car. And now I'm gonna leave you with this. Credit card companies or banks, they're not dumb. They do not extend you a line of credit through a credit card just because they like you. They do not offer you a credit card just because they wanna help you. They do not offer you a credit card out of the goodness of their heart. It's purely business. Credit card companies have done many studies and a lot of research based on our behavior. It's because they know that you will use that credit card, you will overuse it, you will have a lot of debt as a result that you cannot pay. And because the interest rate on those credit cards are so high, it's very easy for you to get stuck in the minimum payment trap. As long as you're paying the minimum balance, you think everything is good, you can make your payment. And to the credit card company, they're laughing from ear to ear. Why? Because they know that by getting you to pay just the minimum payment every month, it will take you years. And sometimes, depending on the amount of money that you have on that credit card, the balance, it can take you decades to pay off the credit card debt if you are only paying the minimum payment. All your bank cares about is making money. A lot of times they don't care about you, the customer. And sometimes they don't even care that much about their employees. The only people that credit card companies and banks are concerned about, the only people that they care about, the only people that they're looking out for, it's their shareholders. So the only way you could benefit from a credit card company or a bank issuing credit cards to people is if you own shares of that company. If you own shares of that bank. That's the only way. It's either that or you use credit cards responsibly. And because so many of us have credit cards, they're convenient to use. They offer a fraud protection and they offer purchase protection in case you wanted to dispute any charges. If, for example, a merchant charged you for something that you did not receive, you can dispute that with the credit card company. It's something that you cannot do as easily with a debit card or with cash. So don't fall for that minimum payment trap. Now, if that video was informational to you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time for our next topic. Have a good one.